Most modern women don't know that all that they have to do is not be loudmouthed, fat harlots that can cook and clean, and you can keep a guy. Like, you can retain this guy. It's really, us men are really not as complex as women, modern women that is, want to make us out to be. And what I've begun to notice over the past couple years, since I started to follow Jesus more sincerely, was that women are upset that they can't use godly men. And they're also upset that you don't really want them. And I'm speaking specifically about the modern women. Okay, I'm not speaking about traditional women. Traditional women love it. They love my masculinity. They love that I have ambition. They love that I don't give up. They love that I'm a dominant person, that I'm an assertive person. And I'm not controlling. I don't like controlling anyway. Like, if I have to control you in order to behave, like for you to behave, then I really don't even want to be around you anyway. I have boundaries and I have standards, and if you don't meet that criteria, then I'm not going to budge. And a lot of the times, these women out here, because most of them are modern women, they don't like that. They don't like that you won't budge. And they don't like that they can't use you. But they also really like it. This is the confusing thing about women, right? But it's also very simple. We all want what we can't have, right? We all want that. We all want that thing, that carrot that's dangling in front of us that we just know if we do just enough, we might make the effort that is important enough and significant enough to get that carrot. But a lot of the times, these women, no matter how good they look, it's just not going to do it for me. And a lot of the godly men out here, I can't tell you how many godly men that I've talked to in my consultations that have practically given up on trying to create a relationship with women nowadays because they just don't see a point in it. And so now they've gone for a certain amount of time without being intimate with a woman, and or without even just having a woman around, and it's weird for them. Now, a lot of the times these men have also committed fornication or adultery in the past. And so, there's sins that they've been repenting for and have repented for. But it's just not the same for men when they were in a promiscuous past that it is for women. And a lot of women may get upset and triggered by this. I understand that it's not fair. I understand that it's a double standard. But what do you want me to do? It is what it is. I'm just the messenger here. I'm not the person that makes the rules. God didn't tell us to sleep around. God didn't tell us, any of us, to sleep around. God didn't tell us to be promiscuous. God didn't tell us to act like people are objects. And something I've noticed is that sometimes when you set boundaries with women, and like every guy that actually does have standards knows this, and I've known this for a little while, but it's just something that becomes more and more prevalent through time. It's that whenever you set a standard and the woman doesn't meet that standard, all of a sudden they think that you like hate who they are. And it's like, no, I like, you are attractive. Like, you really are. You look really good. You look healthy on the outside, but your spirit is not healthy at all. Like, I'm not attracted to your spirit. I'm not attracted to your personality. When I look into your eyes, I see the dark, like sullen, devilish look of a lot of men that have been carved into that spirit. And it's just not attractive. It's just not. And I'm not here for you to manipulate me. I'm not here to bully you. I'm not here to judge you. But I'm not here to be with you either. I'm not here to be with you. And when you chose degeneracy. When you chose what to do in your past, you chose degeneracy. Men, it makes men stronger to go through these kinds of traumas and tribulations. It does not do so with women. I've had women that are in their late 30s or early 40s that have contacted me for consultations. And when I tell them what's up, they get upset. It's like, well, you made certain choices and you Father Time got you. Like, Father Time is unconquerable. Okay? Father Time will get all of you. Whether you like it or not, Father Time will get all of us. There's nothing that we can do that Father Time will not be able to take from us. And instead, you think that you have all the time in the world and you guys can just, the modern women that is, the modern women think that they can just get their egos super boosted up. This is something that's really interesting. And this goes to show, this is when I really learned that women truly are the superior gender when it comes to social interactions. And of course, when I say that, I know modern women they're not going to get angry at that, but this is when I knew that they were the superior gender. It's when conversations I had with these women in the past, they would bring up certain phrases while talking to other guys in front of me and then trying to gauge my reaction based off of like what they were saying. And it was like they were trying to still keep the spark between me and them alive. This was only like, it started happening a couple of years ago, but it started happening with more and more and more women within the last year and a half or so, specifically since I've been on semen retention. And especially at the gym since like May, I would say, where these women would have a conversation with me. They would try to talk to me and I wouldn't actively engage back. Like I would engage back and I would mirror the energy, so to speak, but I wouldn't take it any further. And I wouldn't do anything especially if I knew the woman was in a relationship. I would say, look, I'm not compatible with women in relationships or talking to multiple men. And I've even written down on notes and I've given it to women saying this exact thing, because it's like, I know what you're doing. I see through you. Godly men will see through your bullshit. There's nothing you can do to manipulate me. I've seen a lot. I've seen it all. You can't talk me into being seduced. It's just not going to happen. You might get me aroused, sure, because yeah, you know how to talk. But guess what? If you know how to seduce, that tells me that you've had a lot of experience. And it doesn't have the kind of impact that you think it does. Specifically on a man like myself. Or any of the godly men out there. It's just not going to work. The true godly men, I should say. Because a lot of the Christian men out here they're a lot of people that claim to be religious or claim to be godly. Because I don't claim to be religious. I claim to be ritualistic. A lot of the men that are out here that are, and this isn't, I should also say this isn't a bashing women video. I'm not saying like all women are like this, because I know there's going to be some women that think, well, there's the exception. Yes, there is the exception. You are right. Congratulations, you won the argument. It still doesn't change the generalization of everything that's going on, but congratulations. You pointed out one in a million. Uh, anyway, there's a lot of men out here that claim to be religious of some kind or claim to follow God, and yet they are just as weak as the blue-pilled beta males, because they think that women are supposed to be a certain way. They think that women are supposed to be these innocent creatures that don't suck another guy's dick and then go to you 5 minutes later. They think that that's not supposed to happen. I completely agree. Men, that's not supposed to happen. But guess what? I've heard in my consultations where these guys, specifically one guy that I'm thinking about, where he told me that he found out after he slept with this girl that the night before she was sucking some other guy's dick. And that's just disgusting to me. That's just disgusting. That's the society that we live in. And now that guy's got a soul tie with this woman. And I pray that he breaks it. Because whenever you're intimate with someone like that, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have a soul tie when you're that intimate. It's just disgusting out here. Like that's just, I completely agree, man. Like, that's not supposed to happen. But guess what? That's what does happen. And so you have to start treating your standards, even if you have to fake your standards. Fake your standards long enough until you start to believe it. And then it'll start to just be automatic in your life. And then you'll start attracting, you'll start attracting better quality women. And of course, you're going to get women that want to use you for money. Some women are just going to want to use you for your dick. That's just, I don't like to be super vulgar about this, but it's just the case. That's just what it is. And especially since I lost weight, that's been the case. Like, a lot of women, they see you have the confidence. They see that you're not like someone that just gives your attention away easily. And literally they'll just flock to you like moths to a flame. And it's like, you just want to say to every one of them, like, I can see through your games, ladies. I can see through your games. I know when there's something that is positive in front of me, because I know myself. I have enough self-awareness to know what good things feel like. And I have enough self-awareness to know what sorrow feels like. I have enough self-awareness to understand that some women will lead me to the gates and the pits of despair and sorrow if I'm not careful. I want to tell you guys a little story, specifically about one woman. There was a woman in my life in my early 20s that I never was intimate with, not even kissing or anything like that, or holding hands or anything. But we were very emotional, and this is not I've talked about a similar kind of woman, but this woman was single, very single, and she was very open about her sexuality. And at the time, I didn't know that a woman that was so open about her sexuality, I was like 21 at the time. I didn't know that a woman that was so open about her sexuality could lead me to destruction. I didn't know this. And so she really knew how to get her seductive hooks into me. And I never did like move forward with the process. I was a beta about it. I was a beta male about it. And I was there for her when she cried. Like, I remember the first night I met her, we were downstairs in the dorms and we were playing the piano. Like, she was playing the piano and we were singing together. And because there was a piano room down there and it just seemed like we were having this like very unique moment together. And this was just the first time we hung out. Like, this was the first time we'd hung out. And then on her phone, she had like this big pop-up that said do not answer. And it was like an alarm going off for this specific person. And then she told me all about this guy that abused her and all this stupid shit that she went through with this guy, and how she had to go and get him back by making out with other guys in front of him. And I listened to this and like I was stupid enough to have like pity for her. I was stupid enough to like feel sorry for her. When in reality, later on, like years later, 2 years later, when I was like 22, I realized after so long with this woman, like we went back and forth. We never really like hung out all the way, but we would see each other, but we wouldn't see each other. It's just an in and out kind of thing. And we both had different people we were dealing with on the side. Like, it was like we were somewhere between a friend and a lover, but we were never really lovers and we were never really friends. And anyway, after a couple years of this, of going back and forth, and it was just a traumatic experience altogether because I didn't like the fact that she was talking to other people, and I never made it known to her that I didn't like it. But I also never made it known that I actually liked her. I never made it known to her that I actually cared about her until a couple years later, and we had stopped communication for like a year. And then we saw each other on campus, and we like both stopped and stared at each other awkwardly. And then we got some I think it was like coffee or tea or whatever at the local well, it wasn't a local shop. It was at the university campus, and we got some coffee there, and we talked for a little while, and we thought we had worked something out and tried to hang out again. And then again, it was the same pattern. She would tell me about the guys that would like screw her over and that used her and all this stuff, and I would feel bad for her. And it was just that never-ending cycle of like me just being the emotional support animal. And when I finally just cut her off, I was just like, look, I have feelings for you, but I just don't know like what else to say in this situation. I don't know what else to say. And she said that she was surprised by what I said, and she like she wrote me this like huge thing back like in text after we talked in person, talking about how surprised she was and how caught off guard. And she made me feel guilty for these things, and she made me feel guilty. And then it was at that point I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is the problem. This girl's the problem. Like, I've been here listening to her, not allowing myself to express myself. So that makes me also part of the problem in this relationship. So what did I learn in this relationship? I learned that if I'm going to express myself, I need to express my fucking self. And then this woman, she I should say this female because she's not really a woman. This female, I just told her like, look, I don't want to contact you ever again. I think it's best if we just go our separate ways. And I left it at that. She didn't respond. And then suddenly, like, when she was finally out of my mind, I'd get a friend request on Snapchat, or I'd get another text. And it was like the universe was like, it was like as soon as I had let go of this woman, she was right back. She was right back. And that was a Jezebel spirit. That was a narcissistic woman. And I was the codependent beta male that just wanted to feel like someone was out there that was wanting to be with him. Because that's what I thought we had in that very first moment of being downstairs in the piano room, singing together, and she playing the piano and whatnot. And that's what I thought we had. And I lied to myself for 2 years. And that relationship was just one of the times where I really started to learn the true nature of women. Modern women, that is. Because traditional women are not going to do those things. They're just not going to do it. Traditional women still have that sparkle in their eye. Traditional women still want to have a family. Traditional women will not make out with other guys in front of their ex just to get back at their ex. Traditional women have more self-respect than that. Traditional women are not going to treat you as if like you are just this amazing person and then 5 seconds later go to the next guy or the next guy or the next guy and then make them feel like they're this special person and give them their emotions. They're not going to do those things. So, godly men, beware. Really take note of where you are in your situation and maintain the frame in all of your relationships. If you don't know how to maintain the frame, just speak the truth into existence and use I statements, because that way you neutralize the situation and you can lead yourself. So with that being said, just be careful out there, guys. It is a wild ride out there. It's just bonkers. Like, I can't tell you, like, I've been approached multiple times by different women in the past week or two, and all of them have turned out to be in a relationship or married. It's freaking crazy. It's freaking insane. Like, these women are just bored. They're just bored and they want something different. They don't really want to be wives. Most of the modern women, they don't want to be they don't want to be wives. And this is what happens, like, when they're not virgins. And if we really want virgins, men, then we got to stop making these women into hoes. Because the only time that a woman can be made into a hoe or a harlot is when there's men that are willing to f these women and make them that way. So clean up your room, as Jordan Peterson would say. Clean up your room and let's start actually acting as if we want the things that we say that we want. Because women will not follow otherwise.